Okay, so you know how everyone's like obsessed with manifesting these days, like manifest your dream life and all that?
Right.
It's one of those things where it's like, is this for real or is this kind of too good to be true? So we're doing a deep dive into this YouTube video that claims to break manifestation down into like actual steps.
Interesting. So it's not just like, mystical chanting and...
Exactly. Less woo-woo, more like
Right.
a framework you can actually use.
Cool.
And I always love picking your brain about this kind of stuff, so let's see if this actually holds water.
I'm game. Where does this video even start?
Well, right off the bat, they're saying it's not about like wishing on a star and poof, your dream life appears.
Ah, okay.
They call it like a blend of science and spirituality, whatever that means.
Trying to bridge the gap there, I see. But
makes
before
sense.
we even get there, I think we need to like define what they even mean by manifestation.
Yeah, good point. They're basically saying it's about aligning your mindset, your energy, and your actions, all with what you want. And this concept of the law of attraction keeps coming up, like attracts like.
Right.
Yeah, if you're focusing on negativity, you're going to get more of that. But if you shift to abundance, well, that's what you'll supposedly attract.
Okay, see, that's where the science part always gets tricky. The law of attraction, it's been around forever, but there's no like concrete scientific proof that our thoughts can like directly impact the physical world in that way. It's more of a philosophical idea,
So you're saying I can't just think about winning the lottery and expect it to happen?
Probably not, no.
Darn. But the video really stresses that the real magic, or, well, the science, they keep saying, is in this idea of alignment.
Oh, interesting. What do they mean by that?
Like your thoughts, beliefs, and actions all have to be working together.
Okay.
They say you can't like be saying you want $1 million but secretly believe you don't deserve wealth. That inner conflict, that's what would block your manifestation.
That actually aligns with a lot of psychology research on goal setting. If you have a clear goal and you actually believe you can achieve it, you're way more likely to put in the effort and make choices that like lead you towards it.
So it's less about magic and more about like your mindset influencing your actions, which then shapes your reality.
Exactly. It's setting the stage for success, But how does this video suggest people actually like get started with all this alignment stuff?
Well, step one is getting specific about what you want.
Okay.
No vague, I want to be happy stuff.
Right.
They use the example of wanting, say, a remote job.
Okay.
Instead of just wishing for it, they're saying you need to define the exact salary, the perks, like everything.
Specificity is huge in goal setting theory. It's the difference between having like a clear roadmap or just wandering around aimlessly.
Makes sense.
Vague goals, they often lead to vague results.
They even suggest writing down your desires as if they've already happened.
Okay.
Like, I am so grateful for my remote job in Bali, making $80,000 a year, something like that.
Interesting.
I say it like tricks your subconscious into believing it's possible.
That's a classic technique used in like affirmations and visualizations. It's about repeatedly exposing your mind to a specific thought or image.
Right.
Almost like creating a new mental pathway. You're training your brain to expect a certain outcome.
Cool. Okay, so we've got our crystal clear goal written down, present tense and all that. Where do we go from there?
Well, the video then dives into the power of visualization. They're not just talking about making a vision board, though. They're saying, close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself achieving your goal. Feel the emotions that come with it.
Like athletes visualizing winning a race.
Exactly. And there's some neuroscience behind this, too. Our brains, they often struggle to tell the difference between what's real and what we imagine. So when you vividly visualize something, your brain's firing neurons in a similar way to if you were actually experiencing it.
Wow. But they say there's a catch. Don't just visualize it in the future. You got to embody the feeling now. Act, think, speak as if you already have it.
That's interesting. So this concept of embodiment, it goes beyond just like thinking positive thoughts.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating the qualities, the mindset that you associate with achieving your goal.
Okay.
If you want to be more confident, start acting confident today, even if you don't quite feel it yet.
So it's like fake it till you make it, but on like a deeper level.
Yeah, it's about shifting your internal state to match your desired reality.
Right.
Because the way you feel, it often dictates how you act, which then influences the outcomes you attract.
Okay, that's a pretty cool twist on the whole think positive thing. But what if you have like those pesky negative thoughts that creep in,
Right, that's where the video tackles the topic of limiting beliefs.
Yes.
Those subconscious thoughts that hold us back.
That little voice that says, you're not good enough. or you'll never achieve that.
Exactly. And they can be so powerful, often operating like beneath our conscious awareness.
Right.
The video encourages people to identify those beliefs and actively challenge them.
Okay.
So if you believe, money is evil, they'd say, examine where that belief came from and whether it truly serves you.
And they even give an example of like replacing a limiting belief, I don't deserve success, with a more empowering affirmation. I am worthy of abundance. Is that similar to what like therapists do?
It is. Cognitive behavioral therapy, it often uses this reframing technique to help people identify and challenge negative thought patterns. The key is to not just repeat the affirmation mindlessly. You have to actively try to believe it, to feel its truth.
Okay, so we're clearing out the mental roadblocks, retraining our brains to think more positively. But is it all just internal work? Do we actually have to like do anything?
Right. That's where the video introduces the concept of inspired action.
Okay.
It's about taking action that is aligned with your goals.
So less about wishing, more about doing.
Exactly. If you want a new job, you wouldn't just visualize having it, right? You update your resume, network, learn new skills, all actions that actively support that goal.
Okay, I see how that ties into the whole alignment idea. But they use this interesting term, inspired action. What makes it different from just, regular action?
They describe it as taking action that feels effortless and aligned with your goals, as if, like, the universe is nudging you toward opportunities.
So it's less about forcing things to happen and more about being open to the flow. But how do you even know what those inspired actions are?
That's where it gets a little less concrete. It's about paying attention to those subtle nudges from the universe, those moments of like synchronicity that guide you in a particular direction.
So you're saying it's less about a rigid plan and more about trusting your gut.
Exactly. It's about being present, observant, and willing to follow those intuitive hits that often come in like unexpected ways.
So those inspired actions, it could be anything from like a random conversation that gives you an idea to stumbling across an article that just shifts your whole perspective.
Exactly. It's about tuning in to those subtle signals and having the courage to act on them, even if they don't seem directly related to your goal at first.
That actually reminds me of something I heard about, like successful entrepreneurs.
Oh, yeah.
They say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So maybe it's less about magically manifesting opportunities and more about like putting yourself in the right position to recognize them and seize them when they come up.
That's a great connection. And that preparation part, it could involve all those steps we've talked about.
Yeah.
Clarifying your vision, cultivating that positive mindset, challenging limiting beliefs. It's like you're laying the groundwork for those lucky breaks to happen.
Okay, so let's say I'm like on board with all of this. I'm doing the visualization. I'm taking those inspired actions. But what if things still don't like go my way? What if I hit a roadblock? Does that mean I'm like manifesting wrong?
Not necessarily. It's important to remember that life is rarely a straight line, from point A to point B.
Right.
There will always be challenges, setbacks, detours along the way.
So it's not about avoiding those challenges, but more about like how to navigate them.
Exactly. In fact, those obstacles can often be like valuable teachers,
Okay.
They might force us to reevaluate our approach, develop resilience, or even realize that maybe that desired outcome wasn't actually aligned with our true path.
That's a really interesting point. It's like those times when, you don't get the job you thought you wanted, but then it leads you to something even better.
Precisely. It's about trusting that even in those moments of disappointment or frustration, there's a bigger picture unfolding that we might not be able to see at the time.
Right. But that takes a lot of faith, doesn't it?
It does.
Especially when, things aren't going according to plan.
And this is where the video emphasizes the importance of letting go of attachment to a specific outcome and trusting the process.
So it's about like surrendering control. But doesn't that like contradict the whole idea of taking action?
And manifesting your desires. It's more about finding a balance, I think. It's about taking inspired action while also surrendering to the possibility that things might unfold in a way that you didn't anticipate.
Okay.
It's like holding your vision lightly without desperately clinging to it.
Okay. I think I'm starting to get it. It's like setting an intention, but being open to the journey.
Yeah.
And trusting that you'll end up where you're supposed to be, even if it's not exactly how you pictured it.
Exactly. And this is where the video ties back to the importance of gratitude. It's about appreciating what you have in the present moment, rather than constantly focusing on what you lack.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you're feeling grateful, it's harder to feel like desperate or anxious about the future.
Gratitude is a powerful antidote to fear and scarcity. It shifts your perspective from, I don't have enough, to, I have so much to be thankful for. And that shift in energy can be so powerful when it comes to attracting more abundance into your life.
It's like you're telling the universe, I'm open to receiving more good things.
Exactly. And it's not just about material abundance either, you know? It's about cultivating an overall sense of appreciation for the beauty, the love, the joy that already exists in your life.
Okay, this whole conversation is making me rethink, like, my approach to, well, everything. But I'm curious, does the video offer any, like, real-world examples of people who have successfully used these manifestation techniques? Because so far, it all feels a bit, theoretical.
They do. They use Oprah Winfrey as a prime example of someone who seemingly used visualization and affirmations to achieve, like, incredible success.
Oprah, huh? Well, she did go from, humble beginnings to media mogul and billionaire. It's a pretty compelling story.
The video highlights how Oprah, despite, facing countless setbacks and growing up in poverty, she consistently visualized herself speaking to millions and affirmed her belief in herself as a channel for light and inspiration. And she famously wrote down her goals in a journal and reviewed them regularly.
It's easy to see how someone might look at her story and think, see, manifestation works. But is it really that simple?
It's certainly more nuanced than that. It's important to acknowledge Oprah's incredible talent, her work ethic, her resilience.
Right.
But it's also fascinating to consider how her mindset, her unwavering belief in her vision, might have played a role in attracting the right opportunities and resources at the right time.
Right. It's probably a combination of factors. But it's still inspiring to think about how our thoughts, our beliefs can, create this ripple effect that influences the course of our lives.
Absolutely. And while we might not all become, Oprah-level successful, the point is we all have the power to shape our reality to some extent. It starts with that internal shift in mindset and then taking those inspired actions that align with our vision.
So it's not about just passively wishing for things to happen. It's about, actively creating the life we want.
Exactly. And that brings us back to this idea of inspired action. It's about moving beyond simply doing.
Right.
And tapping into a deeper sense of purpose and alignment.
But how do you actually know when an action is, truly inspired? It all sounds a bit mystical,
Right.
hard to grasp.
It's definitely a subtle skill that takes practice. The video suggests paying attention to your intuition, that inner voice that guides you towards what feels right. They also talk about noticing synchronicities, those seemingly coincidental events that feel like, signs, pointing you in a particular direction.
So maybe it's a random encounter with someone who has information you need, or a book that falls off the shelf at just the right moment. It's about recognizing those, subtle cues from the universe.
Exactly. And being open to the possibility that, the universe might be communicating with us in ways that we don't always expect.
Okay, so it's less about having this, rigid plan and more about being flexible, adaptable, and trusting that things will unfold as they should.
Precisely. It's about surrendering to the mystery of life, while also taking inspired action to, co-create our reality.
This is blowing my mind a little bit. But I have to ask, what about those times when you really feel like you're doing everything right? You're taking action, you're feeling positive, but things still aren't, working out.
That's a valid question, and it's one that the video doesn't shy away from.
Okay.
They acknowledge that sometimes, despite our best efforts, things just don't go according to plan.
So what do they say about those situations? Because that's where I think, a lot of people get discouraged and give up on the whole manifestation thing.
They emphasize that even when we don't see the results we want, it doesn't mean that the universe isn't working in our favor. Sometimes there are lessons to be learned, or perhaps the timing isn't right.
So it's about trusting that there's a reason for everything, even when we can't see it at the moment.
Exactly. And they encourage us to shift our focus from why is this happening to me to what can I learn from this experience?
That's a powerful reframing. It's about finding the opportunity for growth, even in the midst of, disappointment.
And they also remind us that manifestation is an ongoing process, not a one-time event.
Right.
It's about consistently aligning our thoughts, beliefs, and actions with our desires, and trusting that the universe will support us in its own way and in its own time.
So it's about playing the long game and not getting discouraged by, short-term setbacks.
Exactly. It's about cultivating patience, perseverance, and an unwavering belief in our ability to create the life we desire.
Okay, this whole conversation has been incredibly eye-opening. I'm starting to see manifestation in a whole new light. It's not about magic or wishful thinking. It's about aligning our energy with our desires and trusting that the universe has our back. But I'm curious, what are your personal thoughts on all this? Have you ever had any experiences in your own life that made you believe in the power of manifestation?
I'm always a bit hesitant to share personal anecdotes because it can easily veer into the realm of subjective interpretation. But I will say that I've always been fascinated by the interconnectedness of things, how seemingly unrelated events often converge in unexpected ways.
That resonates with me too. It's there's this hidden pattern to life, a tapestry woven with both intention and serendipity.
Exactly. And I think that's what draws so many people to the concept of manifestation. It's that glimmer of hope that we have more control over our lives than we might realize, that our thoughts and beliefs can actually shape our reality.
And that even when things feel uncertain, there's this greater force at play that's always guiding us towards our highest good.
Beautifully said. It's about trusting the process, embracing the unknown, and having faith that everything is unfolding exactly as it should.
Well, this deep dive has been a truly transformative experience.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gained this whole new set of tools to navigate life's challenges and create a reality that's aligned with my deepest desires.
Yeah, I'm delighted to hear that. It's been a pleasure exploring these concepts with you.
Likewise.
And remember, this is just the beginning of your manifestation journey. The real magic happens when you start applying these principles in your own life and witness the incredible transformations that unfold.
I'm excited to put it all into practice. But before we wrap up, I have one final question for you.
I'm all ears.
If someone is completely new to this whole manifestation thing, what's one simple step they can take today to start aligning their energy with their desires?
That's a great question. I would say the most accessible and impactful step anyone can take is to start cultivating a daily gratitude practice.
Okay, so break out that gratitude journal.
Exactly. Take a few moments each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. It could be a warm cup of coffee, a beautiful sunset, a kind gesture from a stranger, or simply the fact that you're alive and breathing.
I love that. It's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we already have.
Precisely. And as you consistently practice gratitude, you'll begin to notice a subtle shift in your energy. You'll feel more positive, more optimistic, and more open to receiving the abundance that is always available to you.
That's such a simple yet powerful practice. And it's something anyone can do,
Yeah.
regardless of their circumstances.
Absolutely. Gratitude, it's a universal language. It transcends all boundaries. It's a gift we can give ourselves each and every day. And it has the power to transform our lives in profound ways.
It's funny how this video starts off sounding kind of woo-woo.
Yeah.
But the more we break it down, the more it aligns with, practical psychology and personal development strategies.
It's that blend of science meets spirituality they talked about. It's about recognizing the power of our minds and beliefs, while also taking concrete action to create the reality we desire.
It's like we're co-creating with the universe. We're setting the intention, taking inspired action, and then trusting that, things will unfold as they should.
Exactly, and that trust is key. It's about releasing the need to control every little detail and having faith that the universe has a plan, even if we can't see it yet.
So for our listeners who are feeling inspired to try this out, what would you say are the most important takeaways from this deep dive?
I'd say the first takeaway is to get clear about what you truly want. No more vague wishes or half-hearted attempts. Take the time to really define your goals and write them down as if they've already happened.
Like that "I am so grateful for my dream job" affirmation.
Exactly. It's about creating a clear vision that you can focus your energy on.
And then it's about taking those inspired actions, those steps that feel aligned with your goals and bring you closer to your vision.
And remembering that those actions, they don't have to be, huge life-altering leaps.
Yeah.
It's about consistently making small choices that move you in the right direction.
Like building momentum one step at a time.
Exactly. And along the way, don't forget to celebrate those wins, no matter how small. Acknowledging your progress, it reinforces that you're on the right track.
And what about those inevitable setbacks? What advice would you give someone who's, feeling discouraged or like they're doing something wrong?
First, I'd remind them that setbacks are a natural part of any journey.
Yeah.
They don't mean you failed or that you're not worthy. It's about reframing those challenges as opportunities for growth and learning.
It's about like adjusting your course as needed and remembering that the path to success is rarely a straight line.
Exactly. And perhaps most importantly, it's about cultivating that sense of trust in the process, even when things aren't going as planned. There's a bigger picture unfolding that we might not be able to see in the moment.
And that brings us back to the importance of gratitude, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Gratitude is the key to shifting from a mindset of scarcity and fear to one of abundance and trust. It's about recognizing all the good that already exists in our lives, even when things feel challenging.
It's like we're training our brains to focus on the positive, which then attracts more positivity into our lives.
Exactly. It's a powerful cycle that can transform not only our internal world, but also our external reality.
Well, this deep dive has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on manifestation and the power we have to create the life we desire.
I'm so glad to hear that. And remember, this is just the beginning of your exploration. There's a whole world of resources and techniques out there waiting to be discovered.
So to our listeners, if you're feeling inspired by what you've heard today, I encourage you to, dive deeper, do your own research, experiment with different approaches, find what resonates with you, and what helps you tap into your own unique power to manifest your dreams.
And most importantly, have fun with it. Manifestation is about aligning with the joy and abundance that life has to offer.
That's such a great reminder. So as we wrap up this episode, let's leave our listeners with one final thought to ponder.
What if, by simply shifting our focus to gratitude and taking small, inspired actions each day, we could actually begin to create a ripple effect that transforms our lives and the world around us?
That's a beautiful thought to leave our listeners with. Until next time, keep exploring, keep believing, and keep creating the life of your dreams.